I'll admit that like I do kind of want me music, but it basically sucks.
It was gonna be bad when they started with the drummer guy because I was like, okay, well, this drum is trying to be a complete drum simulation where, you know, we have everything that you could possibly be doing on the drums here in this thing, and it still didn't sound good. Like, it sounded bad. Everything else in this is gonna be like a plaything, a toy, compared to this one drum thing, which is almost like a simulation. So if they can't get that part right, everything else is gonna just be a joke, basically.
I don't see it working at all.
But it'll sell millions of copies. Like that. You know,
Do you think it will? Do you think it really will sell millions of copies?
I think anything in that series, I mean, you know, there's no reason to believe it won't.
I see people getting bored with it really quickly also because it's all programmed music. I mean, you're not making, there's nothing creative to it. You're not making music. You're you're changing the tempos.
Yeah.
It just reinforces the fact that like Nintendo's totally hitting no gamer left behind metric of like, let's make it anyone, regardless of any skill level, can play any of our games.
They're not.
And people want Kid Icarus. Sorry, you're gonna have to wait a long last time before we get back to you because we're busy selling millions to all these other people that are not you.
I was so relieved to see Animal Crossing.
I was until I saw the graphics, and I actually had to ask the person next to me, is this the new game? Is this the DS game? I can't tell. It looks exactly the same. I mean, there's a new city environment, which looks different, but the idea that like a store where I can get a new haircut, that's supposed to excite me. It's the same thing.
That game is going to be Sex and the City, the video game. It is going to be so addictive. People are going to get completely pulled into it. They're going to be sharing stuff with their friends. They're going to be shopping. Dude, I'm telling you.
I was into Animal Crossing on GameCube for 2 weeks, and I understand the appeal. The game they showed was fishing, which doesn't even have gameplay. You've done fishing in Animal Crossing. It doesn't have gameplay. Do I want to play fishing with any of you people? No, it's not even a game. Like, Animal Crossing is only what you expect it to be, nothing more. Like bare minimum, ugly, same game. Like,
okay, what about the microphone thing?
Like the PlayStation Eye already has that.
Yeah.
It already has it.
Right after the whole part about, you know, imitation makes us innovate, then they show off the mic that's the same mic that's in the iToy.
But it's a very Nintendo approach to voice chat. You know, it makes sense.
Right.
It's very community focused. The only other new first-party Wii game we saw was Wii Sports Resort Sports. I don't know what resort they're going to where you fight with swords against each other. But the fact that you have to use that new sensor thing, it comes with one of them, but you're going to have to buy other ones for your other friends' controllers. I'm just still very confused with why they're splitting the market. Why are they releasing this add-on peripheral?
But to me, it was kind of like admitting defeat. Like, our old controller, our old Wiimote that we released didn't work the way that people and gamers and developers wanted it to work, wanted to use it. So here's this new thing that's going to make it work. But then this like huge Wii audience that's out there, they're not the people that are going to buy this add-on at all.
Did they just pack it into Wii Sports?
That's what they said.
Yeah, exactly.
That add-on, to me, seems like an add-on for the hardcore. That's what the hardcore wanted. They wanted the Wiimote to work in a more 3D sort of way. And yet, they're packing it in with the casual game, which made sense to me also because, like you said, Wii Sports is going to sell really well. I figured that they would pack it in with Wii Sports and then show off a hardcore game that used it in a really new, cool way, so that they'd want to have it. I wanted an adult hardcore game that used it a new way and like measured the 3D space.
But a few third-party games, Call of Duty, which has a ridiculous co-op mode where one person is playing the game normally and another person is just controlling another reticle on screen.
I seriously thought that whole thing was faked. I thought it was just like a sizzle reel where they were showing people like, you know, oh, look, this is what it's like. You can play together. Oh, look, you can shoot stuff. I don't know. I didn't think it was real.
The other third-party footage that just made me sad that like the Wii, that extra add-on for Wii Remote isn't integrated to like Star Wars Clone Wars game because what they showed basically looked more like Star Wars Sissy Slap Fight, the game where they're just going like this whole time. I'm like, okay.
WiiWare wasn't even mentioned once.
That was sad.
At all.
That was sad.
They mentioned it, but they didn't show anything.
The scene when they gave lip service to like Mario team, Zelda team, they're making games.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
That's the vote of the hardcore. Like, oh, we remember Mario and Zelda.
The weirdest part to me was how, you know, Reggie's speech at the end where he's talking about how, you know, Nintendo's whole thing is change and innovation, and then you think he's gonna unveil like some crazy thing right at the end, but then it's like, good night everybody.
Yeah.
We're done.
We're like,
Both conferences, Sony and Microsoft, were kind of neutral in that you came out of them like, oh, okay, you know, everything's fine, status quo. It wasn't a huge disappointment like Nintendo. I mean, they didn't have the big punch of Final Fantasy 13 and 360, but it was a more comprehensive conference. They talked about PS2, they talked about PSP, they talked about PSN. I think overall there were more titles, more quality titles, but just not a lot of like huge surprises at Sony.
I'm going to play and care more about what Sony showed than what Microsoft showed. And I think that's because most of the stuff that they spent a lot of time on at Microsoft, avatars, the new PlayStation or the new cross media bar interface. I really like those things. Seemed really lame to me. I don't know if I'm
They went
off base
over
here,
like a
but
lead balloon. The audience was not into them at all. They thought Avatar's got like no applause or cheering. Like,
I think people do think that Microsoft's conference went the best, but when I was in it, I was thinking, man, this is like the most unenthusiastic audience.
it ended really strong.
So many cringeworthy moments in that press conference.
I'm watching the whole Avatar party thing. I'm just thinking, this is a Craigslist post gone terribly wrong.
Like besides Final Fantasy 13, what was there that impressed you?
Well, Netflix, obviously. Everybody grabbed onto Netflix. And we breezed past the whole live interface redo, and I think it's ugly.
Yeah.
I think
it's cross media bar with me slapped on it. It's a weird like mishmash of like this and that stuck together for no reason.
I think the main problem with the Mii's or the avatars is that they're ugly.
The avatars are like a weird mid-space where they're not deformed enough to be cute, and they're not realistic enough not to look weird.
It continues Rare's inability to make like a decent human character. If the avatars were like weird animals or like creatures, I think it would have been a lot better because that's what Rare is great at. But
Just the overall way you interact with people and invite them to your little party and like the way you see your people lined up like dancing, it's very different.
Okay, but
It's
the
like-
party thing's cool. The party thing beats home to the punch on something they've been promising a long time. Get in a group, stay with your group, play multiple games, go in and out of groups. But why did they just take they have blades, and they decided blades didn't work, so they just took the blades and put them in a 3D space and changed
but
up the mix?
you're not actually in anything. You're just sitting on a static screen
Right, no,
looking
I'm
at
saying-
avatars. You're not doing anything.
I'm just talking about the interface. I'm just
Oh,
talking about
okay.
the interface. Is now it's just 3D panels that you flip through. How is that better than blades?
Yeah, the whole redo seems like unfinished. Maybe it'll look different when it finally comes out.
The first thing I thought about when I saw that is, what happens if you're one of those kids that bought all those themes and all those gamer picks? Is Microsoft refunding that?
Allegedly, you will have your space bucks refunded if you bought the gamer picks. I heard that last night at the Microsoft party. So yeah, that's what I heard.
Let's see how well that works.
Okay, but like back to the wonderful game that made Microsoft's press conference your favorite press conference. Okay, let's start with
Gears?
that level looked awesome.
That
like,
level
was,
looks so much better than
well,
the
the
stuff they showed
on
before.
Rails level was such a disappointment they showed a few months ago. This was a really creative, smart,
Totally agree.
impressive level. Okay, so next thing out was Fallout 3, which had some really funny little, in-game commercial stuff first. But then the actual demo kind of turned people off because they played it like a straight shooter, and that's not the way a demo's best.
you're gonna lose either way when you have to demo something because you can only show a small slice of a game that's theoretically designed to be played for 50 or so hours or so.
But Microsoft did announce that the Windows and 360 versions will have exclusive DLC, so that's a big announcement.
That was a big announcement. Fable 2?
You know, it's funny, Fable 2, we had seen that opening movie with the bird pooping on the head, and people thought it was kind of funny when we first saw it, but nobody laughed, no one thought it was funny. And like, the game, it looks impressive, but I felt that demo focused too much on like the Sims style of like making, like dancing and laughing and making people's like funny go up and making their like stats go, but like it seemed a little like too focused.
And went right past the coolest part, which is when you're playing in single player, anybody in your friends list who's also playing is going to be representing the game, and you can pull them right in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's really cool.
Well, they did say release date October. That's very because you were sure that game was getting pushed back.
Yeah, Peter proved me wrong right off the bat. I will eat my crow. I was totally wrong.
Yeah.
Totally wrong.
Fable Lips, as much as I like Innis, as much as I like those light up controllers, I didn't think it demoed all that well. And they brought out Duffy to sing a song. It was kind of boring. I don't know. Put You in the Movie, whatever it's called.
Oh.
I kind of like it. I mean,
Really?
I kind of like it. It's cringeworthy.
It's awkward because you have these adults up there messing around with it. But if you're a kid, if you're a parent that has the 360 and that they can't use that system, like this is a game where you can actually interact with your kids and have a lot of fun with.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre hybrid of Lionheads, the movies, plus like all those bizarre iToy games.
I think for Microsoft, it's a pretty creative branch out for them, and I'm definitely interested in it. The other game, a new scene, and who cares? Boring, like, meh. But yeah, where were the rest of the new game announcements, like, from Microsoft? Not here.
You're not happy with Portal.
It's an expansion pack, and they didn't show it, but it is exclusive, and that's cool. But it's just, they were very clear not to call it a sequel.
So I think what it's going to end up being is Portal 1
With more
the whole
levels.
game with a couple extra levels that like tacked on the end. I don't think it's going to be an expansion pack.
Geometry Force 2, I'm very excited, but it looked very similar. It's multiplayer.
It's got everything that everyone who
Yeah.
played Geometry Wars Retro
Right.
Evolved wanted in it.
And it's an instant purchase, but if someone's expecting like a revolution in terms of visuals or something,
What
no.
about Galaga though?
I love Galaga.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for Galaga.
That looks
good.
awesome.
That looks
I'm very excited
That
for
looks
Galaga.
really cool.
So at the end, Yoichi Wada, president of Square, came and
Oh, yes.
showed Infinite Undiscovery, Last Remnant, and Star Ocean, which looks great. And then he pretended to leave the stage and came back out for his big announcement, which was FF13 coming out in America and Europe simultaneously with PS3, which is a huge announcement. It's a really smart decision for Square.
I don't know what else to say about it other than I didn't expect it, and Good for everyone who doesn't have a PS3. There you
Now
go.
when I get to play Final Fantasy 13, I can get achievement points for it now.
Overall, that conference, to me, it felt like the big thrust was our new dashboard, our new casual focus. We have some good games coming out this year you already knew about, but in terms of forward-looking, not much there. Not really.
It's the same thing Microsoft did last year, and we
It
spanked
is.
them for it then. It's like, you're not telling us anything about what's coming next year. That's what Sony did well at the end of their conference.
It was very comprehensive, very long, very exhaustive, but I think overall, they demonstrated their commitment to both like to PS3, PSP, and PS2, which was really surprising. They spent more time on PS2 this year than last year, and it's in its 9th year. So they came out of the gates with Resistance 2, which is their head-to-head against Gears, and I think it showed pretty well. I mean,
Dude, Cloverfield moment was awesome.
yeah, I mean, we've seen this giant monster, and it looked really impressive. I was telling the guys, like, some of the transitions were a little wonky still to me. Like, it was like when it was knocking Nathan through like a glass ceiling and across the thing.
Screen shaking a little bit. Yeah, that looks like it needs a bit more development on it.
It's in development still,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, totally.
But then the trailer, I thought, was a much better showcase. He showed lots of environments, looked really good, looks very solid. Yeah, I think
Seriously.
Resistance 2 is solid.
Yeah, definitely.
No one's upset about it.
Little Big Planet as PowerPoint.
I thought it was brilliant.
Really brilliant way.
That
to
was
use
a pretty big full of win moment right there. Like, all right, you actually no more cause giving like stupid ass things about percentages. And it's like, oh, the little sack boys hanging out was Boston Jersey just hanging out as a bar rise up about percentage sales and shit. Like that was
I feel
awesome.
like
Like,
they really-
demo / presentation hybrid.
They really needed to show it, right? Because it's one of the big things that is coming out this year. But what else can you really show? They've shown it so many times. People
Yeah.
are tired of it. And then they also have this other thing they have to do, which is the boring part of the press conference. And they handled them both together. I thought it was a really good move.
Yeah, Sony kept bouncing all over the place. So like after that, they probably talked about like PSP for a while and.
Resistance for PSP.
Resistance for PSP was out of nowhere. It's made by the Siphon Filter guys. Looks pretty good. Third-person
It
shooter.
looked early.
Looked early.
They've been doing, had a lot of success with the Siphon Filter games. Those review really, really well on PSP. So it's cool. And I think that, they had probably gotten to the point where they were tired of making another Siphon Filter game for PSP. So I'm glad they're working on something a little different anyway.
Locomoco 2, Patapon 2, very fan-directed sequels. I'm very excited for both of those. I would argue that the PSN reel, there were so many games that look cool, going past really quickly, and so much more creative, substantial than even. I'm excited about Galaga and Geometry Wars, but like comparing the XBLA offerings to the PSN offerings is still night and day. And compared to the WiiWare offerings, which weren't even there.
I mean, especially when at the end, like, Siren comes up and you're like, man, this is a full game. Ratchet and Clank, full game. Like, these are, even if they're short little things, like, they look like, they're not retro games, you know what I mean?
Another big surprise, the new Ragdoll Kung Fu 4-player remake, that's by Media Molecule. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's not a big surprise they did that.
Okay, then Sony had another big surprise. They finally showed us DC Universe Online. And, whether or not you were really impressed by what it looked like, the fact that it is the first MMO ever really for a next-gen console we've seen. That's kind of crazy, and they were the first ones to do it. No,
I'm not a comic fan or an MMO fan, but I still am. I thought it was a cool announcement, and I think that if I was into either of those two things, I would be hyper excited about it.
God of War 3, I mean,
trailer,
we all knew it was
That's
coming.
such a tease. That was like,
Yeah.
yep, it's Kratos angry. That's pretty much what you expect.
I thought it was interesting though, that's not what they ended the show on.
they showed Infamous, which we hadn't seen in a while, and I thought it looked phenomenal. I was really, really impressed. It got delayed to next year, though, but if it's looking that good now, it's probably worth the wait. The big reveal at the end, which got kind of a mixed response, has a really terrible title. Has like the worst title ever.
Which everyone assumed was SOCOM 4 because like SOCOM Confrontation is supposed to be like, okay, Slant6's doing like the kind of downloadable SOCOM, but Zipper's working on the real SOCOM 4. Here it is, a new Zipper game, and it's not SOCOM, it's MAG.
Well, which stands for Massive
Massive
Action
Action
Game. And the word game should never be in the title of your game. And they showed a Target video, which was also kind of a bad idea. But I think if you just look at what it really is like the next SOCOM. It's SOCOM for 256 players.
Yeah, it sounds like a mediocre idea, but then I think about the SOCOM community, and the SOCOM community is really big and really kind of hyper obsessive, and they're into their rankings, and they actually do like playing clans and all this sort of thing. For the SOCOM community, it definitely sounds like the next evolution of like what they have been doing. So.
The SOCOM players were really anxious to get confrontation and get back to the closer, tighter battles. I mean, I don't know that 256 by 256 is what the SOCOM player wants to play.
I mean, the consoles haven't really had a very big scale Battlefield-like experience. So for people who like these games, like, yeah, it's just BF2 with a lot more assholes. But it is kind of cool that Sony's going to have like the first, like, all right, you're going to get a really big ass multiplayer, like armies versus armies kind of experience. I'm just waiting to see how it actually gets played out.
I don't know, I mean, obviously looking towards fall, the big battle is going to be Gears versus Resistance. You're already seeing that it's kind of being, they're kind of being put like
They both
pinned
have
against each other.
two giant creatures that you gotta deal with.
And they both
run
deal with, like,
around.
I think Twilight gameplay is like the new Dark gameplay for like.
The bad guys look kind of the same in those two games. Just putting that out there. However, I bet Animal Crossing outsells them both.
And with that,
We'll see you next year.
We stopped saying the bigger, better, more badass like 2 months ago, but there's still all the media coming through there, and everyone's like, why does he keep saying that? I'm like, I stopped like 60 days ago. I know it's old. I'm tired of it. So I don't want to spoil too much of the setup here. You know, the Locusts are sinking cities, and Marcus and Dom basically have to traverse one of these kind of freshly sunken cities in order to find out some deep, interesting things about what's going on. So the first thing I notice is there's a little bit more color this time around. It's not quite as
You got more
gray.
God rays.
Yeah, God rays for the win, man.
There it is. The beginning of the end.
Never thought they'd get to Jacinto.
I guess it was just a matter of time.
So one thing you'll actually notice in the full version, we had to edit this out for speed reasons for the demo, is there's a crane puzzle here where Marcus goes and mans the crane and he actually gets to use it, and Dom hops on the other side, and Dom's actually moving across, taking out the locust, and Marcus is acting like, you know, construction foreman.
Yeah,
moving
yeah.
across. And he has to take a break every 2 minutes because of union rules. I don't know if you guys caught some of the music there. We have Steve Jablonski doing the music for the game now.
Okay.
He did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Redux, and he did Transformers the movie.
Will there be patriotic Southern American music like Transformers?
Why do you hate freedom?
I hope you're bulletproof.
So basically, if it's the last guy in a wave, and you grab him and pick him up to me, bag him, it automatically breaks his neck because we don't want you carrying guys around forever.
Right.
One time we were playing multiplayer, Lee and I both had hostages, and we were carrying them around, and I was like, you know, my prom date's a little stiff, how about yours? I don't know, right? And it's a great get-out-of-jail-free card gameplay-wise, because you'll be playing and somebody will throw a grenade out, and you turn and you take your hostage and it faces the grenade, and it'll actually absorb most of the damage. I mean, you may get damaged a little bit, but the body will just go explode right in front of you, and then you're like, oh, you know, same thing with a boom shot, right?
Yeah.
Or a torpedo shot.
So when we were playing in May, playing against each other, we down each other, we were crawling around. Any chance we're gonna get some kind of mechanic where, like, if you have two down guys, you can just kind of slap at each other or something like that?
We'll give you like little, like, you know,
Yeah,
sticks, right?
exactly.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea to put in the pile for any potential future product, I
Yeah.
think. But all the guys make horrible, politically incorrect jokes about it. They're like, cripple fight, cripple fight.
That's totally what I was
I'm
thinking.
like, no, that's not cool. Not that I was thinking it.
Reloading!
Don't push me, man!
So he actually drops the shield that you can pick up. One of the themes is portable cover. And so I can actually deploy this, protect myself. You see it going ding, 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 right? And I can actually plant it in the ground. Take cover on that. Whip out my hammer. Blow him to bits.
Is there a kill where you plant the shield down on someone?
Yeah, basically, when somebody's down but not out, you grab the shield and you raise it up like a giant shovel and you just right in their head.
Nice.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah, we were
That was the
wondering
first thing
about
I
that.
wondered. I was like, oh, can you use it to kill someone? And now we have confirmation.
If we put a spatula in the game, then you'd be able to gouge somebody's eyes out with it. The great thing about the shield is that you can, basically, the other guy can knock it over. He can kick it if he comes up from the other side. So it's kind of like, you know, kicking down somebody's sandcastle at the beach.
Taking fire!
Now I'm going to grab the Scorcher. This is the Gears flamethrower. And if you actually get an active reload, it goes about 20% further, so you can extend your distance because it pressurizes it more.
The fire doesn't like attach itself to like the ground or anything. It attaches.
There's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Whoop, he went right over. But we're not really creating like a forest fire simulator with this game.
Who's next?
And you notice you can actually shoot the hooks off this time.
Yeah.
That was like the big question when everyone saw our assault footage.
Right.
Can you shoot the hooks? I'm like, Yes, you can shoot the hooks and you can shoot the crowd. So the next guy you're going to see is our Countess. He's our locust priest, essentially, and he uses his verbal abilities to summon. He can actually summon tiggers out of the ground. He also has a scream attack that he uses, and he also throws these poison ink grenades, which are a great area denial effect. This is our the Gorgon, which is a semi-automatic pistol.
What does the active reload do for the Gorgon?
It just gives you more strength.
Okay.
Yeah, we also removed the active reload damage boost for multiplayer, so you can't just get one of those and completely win the entire match by taking a guy with one shot.
So no guns will have no guns to active reload gives you more damage in multiplayer. That's just a single player
Well,
thing.
it does it for like the Lancer, it does it for the Hammer Burst and all those weapons, but we found the Sniper that like the only boost we could give you is to basically knock the guy down because of the firing rate. We decided that it was just cheap. A lot of players were exploiting it. They'd shoot a round off into the wall and then, you know, take out guys with it. It just was really unfair and unfun. You saw the gun overheating, by the way?
Yeah.
While it's overheating, if I hit right bumper, it's active cooling, so I can actually cool off the shots, so I can fire faster and keep the barrel spinning.
And that's for all the turrets in the game, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bum 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 bum. Mr. Sandman. Second floor, hardware, children's wear, ladies' lingerie. There's a very angry boomer in there too.
Unbelievable.
Everyone kept asking us about vehicles. They're like, what kind of vehicles do you have? And like, oh, we have the Centaur, we have the tank. Like, well, what else do you have? I'm like, we have other vehicular-like sequences. And this is later in the game, and you fought enough Brumacs at this point. Actually, you didn't fight any in Gears 1.
Right.
But now you actually are going to get to ride it. We didn't want to spoil the level or show you, you know, kind of what it looked like. Out of the way, Dom. Here's the driver of the Brumac. I'm going to pick up the pistol and just finish him hitting the Y button with the longer finishing.
So does one of the characters drive, the other one like handles the weapons?
Yep. One's the driver, and the other one handles the gun turrets and arms.
Let's get over there and finish it off. Or we could ride it and speed this whole operation up.
Reavers were one thing, but a Brumac?
If they can ride them, so can we.
So that's our demonstration, man.
So have you got a chance to mess around with lips yet?
I'm almost looking forward to just plugging in like my portable MP3 device, whichever one that might be that Microsoft would approve me speaking of.
Zoom or iPod, like how
whatever it may be.
That's definitely add an iPod at the end.
And putting in like 1990s hip hop, you know, just like some Fresh Prince, you know. Like I want to do the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme, right?
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Well, the other one, TURTLE power, right? That one. Wouldn't that be amazing?
That was shot in Wilmington, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, near and dear to us.
That's right.
So, I don't want to toe the company line too much because, you know, we are partners with Microsoft with Gears, but I thought they had a pretty good conference, man. You know, they wanted to hit hardcore and then they wanted to hit casual, and they're kind of evolving the system into like not just a gaming box, but a multimedia device, which I think is cool.
So can you talk about avatar support for Gears? You have little
maybe some armor for your avatar.
I have absolutely no idea how that would fit into the game.
Scarring for your avatar.
Like, it would be so great to like basically see, like, take all the Gears executions and batch export the avatars onto those executions. So you get like the avatar breaking another one's neck and like, you know, chainsawing one from the taint to the throat. Right?
I think you have your next trailer.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
Right?
Avatar meat shield.
I have a rendezvous with death. And I, to my pledged word, am true. I shall not fail that rendezvous.
So do you ultimately want Gears to be less Bayformers and more Letters from Iwo Jima at some point then?
I think there's a gray area there, right? Where, you know, you get like total summer blockbuster and total like indie thing. I think, you know, we can have, you know, at first glance, it's kind of like when people come for the graphics and they stay for the gameplay. You know, they'll come for the, you know, the executions and the great gameplay and everything like that. But after they play the campaign, they'll be like, wow, there's a lot of interesting things going on there with themes about energy and loss and retribution and all that. I think I think people are going to dig it.
Gears 1, there's like elements of games you love, like RE4
4 and Violent Commander and Gears 1. So for Gears 2, were there other like homages and love letters to games that you love that are specifically in Gears 2 then?
I mean, it's just a continued evolution of what we like. It's funny running into the RE5 guys backstage, right? It was like total, like, geek.
Because I was figuring, I was like, how is Cliffy reacting to him right now? Because I just remember how
they're like, oh, this is the producer of RE, right? And they're like, oh my god, Gears of War! They're like, oh my god, Resident Evil! I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, right? And then I'm watching there, I'm like, oh my god, you guys have co-op now, sweet, finally, right? And I remember Jaffe made this comparison where he likes to kind of look at other game mechanics he's seen and take them and kind of make them his own and all that. And that's kind of, I'm a fan of that kind of process because I like, like Kill Switch, and also like, Winback, right? Kind of trying the cover thing, and we're like, okay, let's take that, let's put it in the next generation engine, let's put, a cool universe around it, a universe that we love, and polish it off till it shines and see what we can come up with. And then, we saw RE4 and like that over-the-shoulder thing is great, we can do that, but, I think our game is not a survival horror game, so we definitely want to have more strafing ability and things like that, and didn't want the player to have to stop every time he shoots, so we want to kind of bring it a little bit more back towards a fast tactical game. It's kind of the evolution of it all, really.
So what kind of Boom Blocks inspired gameplay things can we have for
Are you
Gears
gonna
3?
hold that against me?
No, not at all. I like the game.
Dude, it's a blast, man. It's like you're sitting on the sofa and you're just like,
well, he's throwing tumblers around at people. It's kind of,
getting a little bit more physics-based gameplay in there. And the entire level's collapsing. I mean, you could say this is our Boom Blocks level.
Yeah.
Inspired by Boom
Fair point.
Exactly.
I just appreciate you guys leaving the build for us. It's gonna make E3
Yeah,
go by a lot faster.
I'm afraid it can't stay. I'm afraid we're gonna have to burn this room and everyone in it. So,
burn
thanks,
up
man.
everything. Nice seeing you again, man.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
Thanks, man.
Cool.
The one